குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை மறைமூர்த்தி கண்ணா, குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை கண்ணா, குறை ஒன்றும் இல்லை கோவிந்தா.
So, we want to talk about our journey into Ayurveda. It's something that I'm sure many people have asked you. It's also a question like, how did we even come about into Ayurveda and why? What was the journey like? So, do you want to get us started? I know you have a powerful reason for how this got started for you.
Yeah, but it sort of got started long back though, because since my parents are from Kerala and my grandmother, both my grandparents were from Kerala as well. And my grandmother actually had she had a stroke. This is my father's mom. And one side of her entire body stopped working completely. And she actually went and got into an Ayurveda hospital. And except for her hand, just one, I think, opening up her finger, one or two, everything got revived. So that was like really good. So that experience was very good. So I had
firsthand how it helped somebody.
Yes, somebody with a stroke.
With a stroke, not just had digestion issues today.
Exactly. So yeah. So I've always trusted on Ayurveda, and my father also always believed in holistic healing. He never wanted to take medicine, especially Western medicine. In fact, a very interesting story. So last year when I was in India, I usually go to a dentist there. I really like him. And so he was just chatting with me after the end of the checkup
session.
Yeah, and he said, you know how I admire your father. Because my father usually, when he goes and gets any dental issues resolved, the first thing he would say is, don't give me any painkiller.
No pain.
Yeah. Don't give me anything. Just do it and it'll heal. And that's how it used to be. He would never give him any antibiotics. He would never give him any painkillers. Nothing.
For any procedure.
Wow. Dental procedure. And he would.
That's a brave man there.
He was a really brave man. It's just that because he got into dementia and he didn't know what was happening around him, he couldn't control later on all the medications that went into his body. But he's one person who's and he's very proud of it. In fact, whenever he meets my friends, the first thing he would say, do you know I can heal myself without medicine? Yeah. So that's how. So I've inherited his qualities, I would say. It's not so with my entire family. It's just me and my dad, basically. And after that, and he was very strict. He was very good with eating habits, the time, what we eat, the pairings, all that mattered to him. So growing up,
set the clock based on his routine.
Yes.
That's how disciplined he was.
Yeah, you could actually set the clock based on that. And he would encourage cooking. In fact, my mother, if she had cut vegetables the previous day night, he would comment. He would say, so buy vegetables 2 days early, cut yesterday. Day before yesterday, cook yesterday and eat today. That's how you want to follow?
Wow.
He says,
tough.
Yeah, he was a tough man. He wanted food fresh all the time. In fact, we would grow many of our vegetables in our backyard, actually. And he was a very good cook as well. Would cook at home. He actually loved cooking. So he was a foodie. He was very good in yoga. In fact, he would do Padmasana and Sirasasana, which was like, in the middle of the room. And
no supports.
Even inside the water. Like, he was a great swimmer. Because we grew up in Kerala, we didn't have bathrooms. So we would have to go to the river to take a shower. every day. And as much as I was so afraid of the water, all my father's siblings, they were all very good swimmers. So would actually go and dip ourselves there, and take a shower. So
So
when
it was your first introduction
yes,
to Ayurveda.
absolutely, not just Ayurveda, just about holistic,
Living and healing.
healing.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was my teacher.
Trusting your body, trusting
Yes.
your
Yes.
the food.
Yes, and discipline, sleep early. In fact, my brother used to sneak behind his back, and when he'll pretend that we are all sleeping, and in the middle, like after like 10 o'clock, when he knows my father is fast asleep, he'll wake up and go sit and study. Always did
Cheating
that.
to study.
Yes,
That's
he
not
would
even
do that.
cheating.
He would do that, and then and when my father actually left to go to a foreign country for an assignment, he was like, I don't have to do this anymore. I have the freedom to now sit and study and do whatever I want. Yeah, so even with spirituality, like we had to wake up at 5 in the morning, shower, and come to our the prayer room. Otherwise, he would get very upset. So very disciplined life. Clothes he was a minimalist. You would open the closet, his closet, and you would see exactly 5 shirts, 5 pants, all nicely ironed and beautifully kept. Those were some really good qualities that I used to admire. Anyway, so much later, when of course after getting married, I was like, no discipline anymore. And then I did whatever I want, right? So, and that showed in my body. So I had a pretty bad fibroids, lots of bleeding. In fact, I would not bleed one day a month.
The rest of the time.
The rest of the time I would bleed.
That's what. Yeah.
Just one day I wouldn't bleed. I would get a break, but every other day I would. And to the extent it was becoming such a huge problem. One, my hemoglobin count was going very low. I was like walking around with a hemoglobin count of 7. And then second, travel. How do I travel with this bleeding, right?
You had young kids then?
Yes, I had young kids. I had no help at home, all by myself. KK would travel quite a bit. Nobody knew the seriousness of it, until now, when people are experiencing low hemoglobin count, is when they are understanding how bad it was then. But it looks like the way we've always we've been brought up, like don't complain too much.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Don't complain too much. You gotta you have
Just
to learn
deal
to
with it.
deal with it, right? That's the attitude everybody had. So, and I had for myself, not that I could have asked for help. It's not like people didn't want to come and help, but I said, yeah, this is something I didn't realize was so serious. I said, I'm going to handle it myself. So when I went and checked with my OBGYN, she said, the only option you have, Aruna, is hysterectomy. And that's all I can do right now because anything else has failed. So, and I didn't want to do a surgery because my mother had a hysterectomy and I knew the complications that she went through, especially weight gain, hormonal problems, because they removed her uterus and her ovaries. So there was so much issues for her that I didn't want to. I said, that's not something I want to deal with on a day-to-day basis. In fact, the guru that we pray to, he says, when you are healthy, like when you have all your organs working, that's when you're able to do service to not just yourself but everybody else around you, right?
Your body is a machine that needs to aid your higher purpose of what you're trying to do in this lifetime. Yes. And instead, our health often becomes a distraction where then your focus shifts completely to me, my body, my.
How do you overcome that is take care of yourself. And so I said, I don't know then if I do a surgery, what other complications that could lead to. So I wanted to first try all the holistic healing path. And of course, my family was super supportive, including my husband. KK was super supportive. They would all eat whatever I cooked, what was suitable for me. And not just that, and my kids too. They were very young, but they never complained that you didn't make this or you didn't make that. They would just eat what I cooked at home, and that was more suitable for me, right? But again, one thing is, what was suitable for me was very delicious, by the way. So people, if they think Ayurveda is like with no, taste, it's not so. It's very vibrant. It's very tasty, wholesome. So it was good.
So back up a little bit. You went through your hysterectomy diagnosis.
Yeah.
You said no. What made you go to
Ayurveda? Right? Yeah. So then what happened was, of course, my OBGYN gave me just 2 years. She said 2 years is all I'll give you. If you don't heal yourself within the 2 years, you have no choice but to do hysterectomy. So I had this solid 2 years to, sort of figure things out. Everything is a divine intervention, I met up with this doctor in India, and this was in Kerala. So I would go and get those medicines, but none of them were like processed. They were all roots and herbs and things that I would have to combine, follow like a concoction, drink along with some kashayam. Kashayam is one sort of
just a tonic or a
tonic. And no pills or no medications, right? It was all that. And that's how I started this journey. I said, I'm going to give it a try.
Pomegranate, like apple, beet, carrot juice. I don't used to have that.
I would do that because that increased my hemoglobin count. It was a very nice juice actually, which the entire family drank, and they were all it was super popular. In fact, one day if I didn't make it, they'll say, where is the juice? So, that one worked well. It started working. Ayurveda doesn't happen overnight, believe me. It took a lot of effort and time and discipline more than anything, and believe in what I'm doing was the biggest one. I knew this was going to heal me. I was very disciplined. Wherever I went, I would make this concoction and even carry it with me, in a bottle, so then I can go wherever I am to even drink it on a regular basis. And then I avoided the food that I was supposed to avoid. Fried, no fried at all. Stop them completely. No processed food, like nothing canned, nothing frozen, no pastries, no sugar. Jaggery was okay, but anything else was
that too in controlled amounts.
Very controlled amounts.
Because fibroids are sensitive to sugar. Right?
Yeah, and that too, jaggery was maybe during, if there was some occasion or some, I would have a little bit, but not much. And then it was mostly even urad dal. They asked me, the fermented foods were another thing too. They asked me to stop fermented foods. So I would basically, and no urad dal as well. So
urad dal is Bengal gram.
Yeah, Bengal grams.
That may not know the name.
Yes. So all that sort of the food, fresh food, eating, make a meal. Every meal was made fresh. Small quantity but fresh. So that's how I started changing my diet. Very interesting, right? The customs, they became very strict. They wouldn't let me bring any of the herbs from India during immigration. So I didn't know what to do now going forward, because I still had some more time that I had to take this to make myself feel better. So That's when I learned about this doctor through Sri. Shri's family members were going through similar problems, not fibroids, but a different health
Other
issue.
health complications. Yeah.
And they had identified a doctor in Chennai, and that was working like a miracle. He was giving tablets, and so that way we could bring it, or he would be able to mail it to us. So then I had a conversation with him on Skype. That time Skype was popular.
No Zoom.
No Zoom. And it was just one call. And he looked at me through that whatever video, and he knew exactly what I was going through. And he said, "I'll cure you." So, and the biggest of all of this, I still tell him, my father-in-law's brother, he's a doctor. He was an endocrinologist. He still practices actually. He's close to 80 in Augusta, Georgia. So he encouraged me. He said, "Don't worry about these Western medicines for now. Just focus on Ayurveda. I'm sure you will feel better. And if you have any problems
along the way,
like getting, of course, my OBGYN herself was very open about. She did all the ultrasounds and everything that needed during the process, because I had to submit all that to the Ayurveda doctor in India. But even he said, "You can come to Augusta, you can come to my clinic, and I'll do everything for you, all the blood work." And so I always had a backup as well that way. And he, by the way, he was a Western medical doctor, but was very encouraging
open to
the other options,
modalities. Yeah.
So finally, that just about 2 years is all I needed. And
so not overnight, huh, Aruna?
Took 2 solid years. Yes. 2 solid years, and after that, I still maintained my diet.
All that hardship that you went through is keeping you extremely disciplined, because you have seen the other side. So I think that keeps you motivated to not compromise on anything, not one bit.
Yeah.
It's easy to just say, "Oh, let me make an exception one day. Let me do this a little bit of time." But having been through that journey and having been through the hardship and knowing how long you had to stay on that path, I think has made you steadfast, I would say, in your commitment to
absolutely
to prioritizing good food and good living, healthy living.
The other biggest advantage of sometimes I feel these hardships are essential for everybody. They're all great like KK, my husband says, blessing in disguise.
It's not in disguise at all. I know we say it's in disguise, but often it's
actually,
when you look back, it's not a disguise at all. It's actually quite
apparent.
Yeah, very apparent how much it has helped you. Yeah.
Because that actually brought me so much confidence in my own health. Now I know that with food and with your good, a disciplined life can actually reverse, change the way you feel. Because my menopause, everything just worked out so well after that. Right? Didn't had to face so much hot flashes, because I think in general the food habits and the medicines and what balanced my energy well, that my body is able to somehow handle. Yeah. So that actually is a big, huge part of my life.
For me, it was not a direct experience. For me, I saw, much like Aruna, grew up with home remedies. There was always a home remedy for any common ailment. If your stomach was upset, you would just go to the backyard, grab some neem leaves and make a ball, grind it to a paste, and then have it with pepper. If you had a cut, you would put on a turmeric poultice. And so there was always those essential home remedies and the holistic way of living. Of course, we always had our doctors and all those as well, but what I did observe was, as I was growing up, Aruna and I have been friends for 30 years. So I saw her when we were back in grad school. So I saw her go through some of this journey. And even in my own family, I've had my sister, she had very chronic case of ulcerative colitis. We've had other people, members of the family, including my husband, who've battled autoimmune conditions. And when we were going through it, it was always like something is happening, so we need to treat the symptom, we're treating the disease without necessarily understanding why it came about. So what we realized is that there was always, when my sister went to the doctor, she had a similar diagnosis. You have to remove your colon, you can stick a bag, and that's going to be the rest of your life. And very much like Aruna, she said, hell no, I'm not doing that. For my husband, it was always like, okay, let's go and put you on steroids. Let's put you on things that would just mitigate the symptoms, but never really pay a deeper attention to why is this happening. Address the root cause. Like, why? Your body, I'm a big believer that when your body is showing something, it's a cry for help. It's giving you the signals that something is off. You need to understand it. And so paying attention to your body and paying attention to the symptoms. If you're waking up with a headache, it's probably something that your body is saying, I need something, some corrective action to be done. So for me, it was observing Aruna, observing my sister, observing my husband, observing other members of my family who all made pivotal changes by relying or understanding or adopting a holistic way of life. And Ayurveda happened to be the avenue that it's not the only modality. There's obviously other philosophies that work equally well. But the common thread was some of these, to address the root symptoms and to root out the disease as a whole, you have to take the marathon approach. It's not a sprint to the finish line. It is a long commitment to a holistic way of living. So in our family, when my son was born, pretty much in the first year, he started developing severe eczema. And the doctors would say, like, okay, you can put topical steroids and things like that. But we found that, okay, if you eliminate those and you started giving foods, so figuring out which foods were triggering it. And back then, it was all like the cereals, like the baby cereals were all the rage. So we cut that out. We said, no, that's not working. And then we switched to homemade foods. We switched to organic fruits and vegetables. Switched to giving him homemade ghee, and lo and behold, the skin issues started to go down. I'm not saying this is the cure-all for everybody, but in his case, he responded to that. So, and then with my husband's case, we found out that there were certain allergens, like he was allergic or he was reacting to certain foods. Like wheat didn't agree with him. Wheat would trigger the reaction for the autoimmune conditions. Nightshade vegetables would. So we spent, I would say, the better part of maybe 25 years just tweaking our diet, literally one step at a time for the sake of our family. And every shift we made would give one incremental benefit. And over the course of time, our diet had changed so much that we were able to overcome some of these diseases. And in my sister's case, which was, I think, the most dramatic, similar to Aruna's, and very comparable, she went through such a hard time with her colitis, and the doctors were like, when she went for her blood test, she was, I think, at a 3. So the doctors were shocked she was even walking around. So she had to pretty much put her life on hold and get admitted to a hospital and go through a blood transfusion, because there was no way she was even making it out without that. But the same doctor that helped Aruna, was the one that looked at her and said, this can't be. So he put her on a regimen that had everything from medications and herbs to simple homemade remedies with pomegranate peel and buttermilk and some medicinal formulations with ghee and things like that My mom worked tirelessly for a decade, not one day, not two days, but my mom worked with my sister tirelessly for a decade to heal her. Uh, so seeing all these things made it very apparent that there is another path. That this is not to say that we don't trust Western medicine, but Western medicine often addresses the symptoms. It often presents a quick fix to, if you break your leg, if you have something that needs that immediate attention, by all means, we're all for that. But slapping on a pill for um, hypertension, or slapping on a topical steroid for a autoimmune condition or a PCOS, or we think there are ways to actually think about it differently. Come at it from, don't stop that. Like, that obviously is giving people relief, so we can go that. But then there is an underlying, there's an impetus for you to look at the underlying lifestyle, both physical and emotional and mental, that we think can give you a more prolonged um, result. So it can give you more sustaining results that helps you eliminate or mitigate, eliminate, hopefully in the best of scenarios, the root cause of the disease. So I saw this happening time and again with many members of my family, which what just made me start reading more. So what was very natural and what was intuitive for us to say that, okay, I'm going to use this home remedy for this, I started to read more and listen to Ayurveda experts on why something was working. And once I got in, the logic and the way this came about was just so appealing. And it made sense. It made intuitive sense that if you're having skin issues, which I had, by the way, I had a lot of skin issues, and it's a case of your blood. There's an impurity in your blood, and why does your blood have impurities? It's obviously something that is breaking the gut bacteria, the gut barrier. So there's something that is causing that issue. So how do you purify your blood? What is it that is impacting it? So for me, it turned out to be milk products. So once I cut out milk products, I again found that thing. But all of it goes to show that you have to pay attention to your body, and that is something that Ayurveda reinforces time and time again. Food is medicine. Everybody is unique. Every individual is unique. So understanding your own constitution, those things just made intuitive sense. And just adopting these things over a course of time helped so many of us heal, that for me it was just a fascinating pursuit to just understand Ayurveda. And for me, I got first introduced to the discipline and the academic angle to Ayurveda through Dr. Vasant Lad. I just happened to find him. I didn't know anything about him. I just was Googling, like, what can I go to school for Ayurveda? And I came across Dr. Lad, and I found some of his videos, and the way he explained it was just so intuitive and so rational that I just fell in love with it from a whole, just an intellectual pursuit. And the other thing that I found extremely drawn to is both Aruna and I we consider ourselves to be very spiritual. We believe that we are here on this earth for a different purpose, a purpose that is beyond just living and serving ourselves or serving our families. We feel called to the connectedness that we feel to the society and the community. And that origin, like we trace the origins of Ayurveda and how it came from the Vedas, and how it talks about the consciousness and nature and the world unfolding from the meeting of the conscious universe and the material universe. Those things just made me come alive. I have no other way to say it. Like, the whole thing just made so much more sense, that I was able to integrate so many pieces of my life together, which is the spiritual aspect, the living aspect, and the third one that, again, both Aruna and I have always talked about this, is our impact on the environment. Like, how do you live in a way that is in harmony with the environment? And understanding how much emphasis Ayurveda places on the connectedness between us as individuals and the environment around us. It just felt like everything came together beautifully in this one science. And I say science with a caveat because yes, maybe it's not scientifically proven, but that is changing so rapidly now. There's so much understanding of the uh, the formulations, the science behind this, the understanding of the interconnectedness with our body. Ayurveda's always said pay attention to your gut, like to your Agni. Today, if you go and look at all the root causes of all the issues that we are facing, it's you can tie it all again to the gut. Like they talk about the gut biome, the gut-brain connection, the emotional health that you can change by paying attention to your gut. And so I feel more and more reassured that over time, the things that we understand intuitively, and maybe Ayurveda didn't have the Western language to express the scientific rationale behind it, that science is now discovering that and reinforcing this philosophy. So I feel very confident that it can help a lot of people, just like it helped us and our families. And while Aruna and I come at it from a food perspective because we think that's the most easily adoptable in your lifestyle, there is definitely help even for the ailments. And my father, like Aruna, my father also, he went through Parkinson's, and while he was going through Parkinson's, for those that many people know about this, but Parkinson's is just a slow killer. But for him, he was able to prolong his medication. So the thing with Parkinson's is often the medications that you are put on, they keep losing their efficacy. So you need to keep increasing the dosage. You need to keep bringing it up so that they can function. But with my father, he supplemented it with Ayurveda, and so he was able to keep his medications at a very minimal dosage. He needed them definitely, but for a decade he was able to manage it. So we just feel that there's not feel, we actually from experience we're able to see that there is a lot that Ayurveda can offer.
The reason why it didn't become so popular is because in those days, I was telling Leilani about this, that when you ask questions to our elders, they somehow think that we are questioning them.
Because I told you so.
Yeah. So a lot of these concepts that they had inherited from their ancestors just fell through the cracks.
Oh, I'm very guilty of that. I would be the why person, and often it would end in because I told you so. And my parents were the first ones to admit that we never asked the questions that you all are asking. We wish we had asked it. I wish we had, that it had actually come through times.
Yeah, it should have. It should have come through the times, right? That's the reason why. Because if you look at them, our ancestors lived a better life, and even the guru that I was talking to you about, I was listening to his discourse this morning, and he says we are capable of living for 100 years. 120, yeah, but 100 years we can live without any problems, like with full functioning, right? Now, why aren't we not able to do this? Is because there is so much change in the food and habits,
the environment, toxins.
Yeah. So if that has happened, then that's the problem, is because we did not.
We're living out of harmony.
Yeah. Right. So and that's what our ancestors did. They lived for a long time. Well, not the immediate one I'm talking about. This was originally when they were actually following Ayurvedic principles. After that, they stopped. Many of them, they somehow went back to a different medical system, right? But when they were truly practicing it, when they would walk, that's what he said. Whether if it's anything, they would not take any shortcuts, right? There was no
shortcuts were not available.
No, not available. Yeah. So when that was happening, I think the body was responding to everything. But now that we all want to make our life more simple and easy, because we have to focus on a lot of other things like work and life balance. I think we've given up on some of these important factors.
So, one piece of advice we would give to somebody who wants to start on the journey of Ayurveda, just go read about it and
trust the system first. To some extent, say that I'm going to give it my best shot. That's important.
Yeah, you should trust it, but I think the trust usually follows experience, or experience follows trust. I don't know which comes first.
It is like a chicken and an egg problem, but I'm saying for any system, for it to work, whether it is a Western medication or an Ayurveda, you got to trust it a little bit to start off. Otherwise, if you don't if you don't want to if you don't follow it and trust it, then the body is never going to respond the way it's supposed to respond, right? And baby steps. It doesn't have to be any leaps and bounds. Start somewhere, maybe with food. Try to cook a nice holistic meal for yourself to start with.
Yeah, I think to me, that is probably the only thing I would say. Just look at your food and change, or if you don't like what you're seeing on your plate based on everything that you've heard, just change that. And I think that usually is the gateway to changing so many other things of your life. So